What's happening, guys? Jay here, and today I want to talk about Demon Slayer Mugen Train, the movie, especially now that it has aired outside of Japan and many have been able to see it. Of course, it goes without saying this video will have spoilers, so you were warned. Now, this won't be our typical review of a movie. Instead, it will be me pointing out how genius the writing of this movie is, how carefully thought out the story and characters are. Forget about the animation and fight scenes, those things were really impressive, but from a writer's perspective alone, this movie is an absolute banger because of how genius it was set up. To begin, let's first talk about the events before the movie. It's important to know that Demon Slayer Season 1 focused heavily on the development of Tanjiro and Nezuko, while integrating the two main side characters in Inosuke and Zenitsu. By the end of Season 1, we got a glimpse of the Hashiras, which already set the stage perfectly for Mugen Train. Anytime a story shows the most elite group, there will always be hype surrounding it, and Mugen Train banked heavily on Rangoku, the Fire Hashira, to represent this elite group in Demon Slayer. Rangoku is the first and most genius part of Mugen Train. You see, Rangoku was the perfect Hashira to have himself his own movie. Why is that? Because he does not need any character development anymore, allowing him to shine and capture the hearts of the audience in just 2 hours, while preventing Tanjiro and company from turning into movie characters who just needed to be there because they're the protagonists in the bigger picture. So, how did Rangoku pull this off? Similar to iconic characters like Erwin Smith, All Might, and Minato Namikaze, Rangoku was already a fully developed character. What makes him fully developed? First, he has little to no regrets in his life. The man has no emotional baggage. He is an optimist with a big smile and a charismatic leader who always pushes forward and inspires those around him. He does have doubts, as portrayed in the few moments we saw in his dream. However, at the end of the day, the man has an indomitable will. The movie even showed Tanjiro and friends submitting to Rangoku's power, a smart way to let the watchers naturally accept him as a character to trust and like. It's these characteristics of a leader that make these iconic anime leaders so lovable at a short period of time. For an anime movie that's basically a continuation of a series, centering the audience's gaze to an extremely likable but developed character is key in pulling off a satisfying climax and ending under a limited period of time. Beyond Rangoku's placement in this movie, there's also the concept of the Mugen Train. Trains have been used as an integral plot device by many writers in the past, and Mugen Train is another one that's gonna be in the list that pulled it off. The idea behind the train as a setting is proven and tested. The reason? First, trains are mobile vehicles that carry a lot of passengers. The fact that something fast and moving while carrying hundreds of lives is by itself already a setting for a possible disaster. Train to Busan is a great comparison to Mugen Train. It's both constantly moving and it houses a lot of lives that puts them at stake. Second, a train is segmented, meaning there's always a feeling of surprise every time a character goes from one segment of the train to the next. We saw this in action when Tanjiro and Inosuke were searching for the head of the demon after Rangoku devised a plan that's hinged on a specific duty on each train carriage. A great example of another movie that pulled this off is Snowpiercer, where the protagonist advanced towards the very front of the train as a means to revolt. By using the train as a concept, the length of the movie was just right in resolving the conflict. First, the goal was simple: keep the passengers alive and slay the demon. The characters didn't need to jump from one place to the next. There was no need to spend hours looking for the main antagonist as well. Basically, the setting was literally concise because the train is a cramped space. Now, a big challenge with an action-packed series being in a confined setting like a train is the amount of action we see. This is where the next genius plot element came in, and that's the blood demon art that was introduced in this show. By using dreams as a central device to show conflict, the movie managed to create an entirely new setting that allows the watchers to be hooked even more while still maintaining consistency in storytelling. Not only that, but it gave so much entertainment due to the variety of worlds and subconsciousness we saw in such a short period of time. We already knew Tanjiro's dream is gonna be heavy-hearted, but seeing the hilarious subconsciousness of Zenitsu and Inosuke gave the movie a lot more color beyond grief and suspense. Rangoku's dream, on the other hand, was an instrument for two things. First, it's to further prove how indomitable his will is, And second, it's to give him the perfect ending by showing the one and only concern or doubt he had growing up, his mother's advice and his father's demise. It is also through this that the movie easily found a realistic and believable way to trump the demon's trick, and that's through Nezuko. The moment we find out our protagonists are asleep and are basically helpless, it was pretty obvious to the attentive watcher that the hidden Nezuko will be key in their victory. It was a natural way for Tanjiro and Inosuke to awaken. When all of our protagonists got out of their slumbers, it was only natural for 3 Demon Slayers, 1 Hashira, and 1 Nezuko to easily best the main antagonist. And as everything seemed to be resolved, the movie just can't end like this, not when Rangoku had an easy time. This is where the last genius of Mugen Train comes in. It perfectly sets up the next events after this movie by introducing one of the highly anticipated Upper Moon demons. In this case, it's none other than Akaza. Now, there could have been many problems introducing Akaza this late into the movie, but the genius behind this move is introducing a character that is both similar and quite different to Rangoku, 2 sides of the same coin if you will. Akaza is similar to Rangoku in a way that his personality and will is also fiery and charismatic. Similar to Rangoku, he was loud, but not stubborn and does not underestimate his opponent. Further, Akaza through his dialogue was simple to understand. He just wanted the thrill of fighting strong people, and by acknowledging Rangoku's strength right away, the two established a quick rivalry that made sense given how similar they are in terms of fighting spirit. It came to the point that Akaza was constantly inviting Rangoku to become a demon so they could fight for eternity. By establishing the perfect rivalry, Mugen Train created the perfect death and the perfect conclusion for Rangoku's character. Creating such a lovable character and killing them off in a matter of 2 hours is extremely difficult to pull off, because a character's death can make or break the audience's opinion towards the show. But because Akaza and Rangoku's sudden rivalry felt so natural, Rangoku's death made sense. He died a hero, performing his mission without flaws while almost killing Akaza. Rangoku was in a way a sacrificial lion. But his sacrifice was not all in vain, because in his death, we can see a not too distant horizon that sets the stage for not only our trio's growth and character development, but also the next Hashiras gearing up for revenge. I truly enjoyed this movie and I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen Demon Slayer yet, then I highly recommend starting the series because Season 2 is fast approaching. Anyways, that's it for today guys. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, please hit like and subscribe to more reviews. Thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.